I'm Councilor Dino Acuña. Please come and join me as we go back in time and remember with gratitude the effort, sacrifices, hard works, and wisdom of our past mayors. In this episode called the Legacy Series, we will visit the graves and relearn the significant contributions of our past leaders.
Dino sa puso nyo.
Presidente Municipal Serafin L. Casañares' grave was never found. At the time of his death in 1931, the now defunct public cemetery located at the portion of the present site Alejandro Acuña Yapquiña Memorial Elementary School, also formerly located at the backmost part of the then Casa Municipal de Magnanod, now Home Economics Building of the Victorias Elementary School, was the only existing official public burial ground of the town. It was not until 1934 that the municipality of Victorias was able to acquire by purchase from Doña Simeona Viuda de Deching, judicial administratrix of her late husband, Don Gonzalo Deching, who had died in 1927, an area of 33,747 square meters or approximately 3.38 hectares where the public cemetery was transferred to in what is now known as Fairmont Village in Barangay 7. Presidente Municipal Serafin Casañares was the eldest of the 7 brood of Calixto Casañares and Marcelina Legario from Janiuay, Iloilo Province in the island of Panay. After Victoria's Milling Company was established in Victorias in 1919, there was a rapid growth of residents in the town, mostly workers coming from Iloilo and other parts of Negros seeking greener pastures in the town, which houses what turned out to be one day the country's largest sugar producer and one of Asia's largest millers and refineries and leading brands in sugar production. The Casañares family was one of those families who, like many others, fell in love with and made Victorias their new and permanent home. Serafin has 6 other siblings. His siblings were Primitiva, married to Eliotero Gustilo; Miguel, married to Felisa Lim; Delfin Sr., married to Adelaida Nobles; Consuelo, married to Rodrigo Macalde; Maria, married to David Adolfo; and Consolacion, married to Gaspar Mateo. Most of their descendants still live in Victorias to this present time. Presidente Municipal Serafin Casañares served the municipality of Victorias from 1930 up to 1931 during the time when women were not allowed to vote yet. This is due to the enactment of Philippine Commission Act No. 82 in January of 1901, commonly known as the Municipal Code, which was the significant step in the organizational structure of municipal governments in the Philippines under the American colonial government known as the Insular Government of the Philippine Islands. This act not only transformed former Spanish pueblos into municipalities functioning as municipal corporations, retaining the old boundaries of the Spanish regime. Moreover, the act established specific criteria for voters' eligibility, primarily focusing on male residents only above 23 years old who had resided in the locality for more than 6 months. The eligibility was classified into 3 categories, namely number 1, former local officials; number 2, property owners meeting specific tax requirements; and number 3, individuals proficient in English and Spanish. However, certain disqualifications were also stipulated, such as delinquency in paying public taxes, criminal convictions, violations of allegiance to the United States, or supporting armed groups against the U.S. authority or sovereignty. Further, Serafin Casañares was elected into office during the time when the Philippines was not governed by a Philippine president, but by a Governor General appointed by the President of the United States during the American colonial occupation of the Philippines. It is important to note that Presidente Municipal Serafin Casañares, due to his reserved, humble, and trustworthy personality and unparalleled dignity and integrity and leadership, rose from the ranks of the ordinary citizens and from a non-wealthy class. It was very uncommon to successfully win in any elections during the time when the Philippines, and especially Negros Island, were governed mostly by aristocrats and sugar barons whose wealth and dominance overturned the poor and the powerless. Yet, Serafin Casañares charmed his fellow Victorianos and won their hearts. Many Victorianon political families also allied with Serafin Casañares, especially the well-respected patriarch of the Grand Montinola family of Victorias and Sarabia, Don Felix Lozada Montinola, who was noted for his support for Presidente Municipal Serafin Casañares. Serafin Casañares was known to be the youngest person to have occupied the highest position of the municipal government at that time. His term was marked by the era of activities cooperated by the young generation as well as the old. During his brief term, the Municipal Subdivision Plan was approved on February 21, 1931. Presidente Municipal Serafin L. Casañares, to this date, is probably the only town executive of Victorias to have died while in office as an incumbent Presidente Municipal or city mayor, as the case may be. Serving for a very brief period of only 3 months, he succumbed to what has been known by his descendants as due to a flu or influenza in medical terms. However, in today's times, City Health Officer Dr. Richard P. Garritos is of the opinion that probably Presidente Municipal Serafin Casañares died of pneumonia in 1931. At that time, when there was no vaccines available yet and due to poor management of pneumonia. Back then, it was very hard to treat the disease. Pneumonia is an infection that inflames the air sacs in one or both lungs. It can be caused by bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Symptoms often include cough, difficulty breathing, fever, and chest pain. Treatment depends on the cause and severity and may involve antibiotic, antiviral medications, or supportive care like rest and hydration. After his demise, his Vice Presidente Municipal Vicente Arnaez succeeded him. His younger brother, Delfin Legario Casañares Sr. is remarkably noted as one of the only 2 returning soldiers who saw action and served for the Philippines in World War II in Corregidor and Bataan. He was a member of the 71st Infantry Division who went home to Victorias after fighting in Mindanao and joined the resistance movement to fight for the country's freedom from the Japanese invaders. His noble deed for the love of country in general and Victorias in particular will always be remembered. That is Delfin Legario Casañares Sr., whose descendants still live in Victorias today and a few continues to serve in the government service to this day. On September 19, 1942, 90% of the population of Victorias was burned down, not by the Japanese invaders, but by the Filipino underground movement. This is to prevent the Japanese from making Victorias their headquarters, but only Calle Embarcadero, later known as Casañares Street, was spared. To honor the legacy of Presidente Municipal Serafin Legario Casañares, Calle Embarcadero was named Casañares Street by virtue of Sangguniang Bayan Resolution Number 167, Series of 1958. His portrait is found in the Gallery of Mayors located at the City Hall of Victorias by virtue of the same resolution. Serafin Casañares may have long been forgotten and his grave unfound, but let us always remember that once in the history of Victorias, there was one Serafin L. Casañares who was not rich nor powerful, but his youth charmed his fellow Victorianos, and by whose leadership led to serve not just the youth, but the town we all live in today. His life might have been cut short by fate and by God's will, but his memory may continue to remind us that love and service go together to create a beautiful community like Victoria City today. Madamo gid nga salamat, Senyor Serafin L. Casañares. Thank you for joining us in this another episode of our Legacy Series project. God bless and see you in the next episode.